There's no Raising Hell if it wasn't for Larry Smith. He built and created the module that we needed to use. Because think about it, if we didn't have Larry, we could have fell to the wayside. This ain't disrespectful to all of those other so-called one-hit wonders. There's a lot of fabulous, Joeski Love, Pee-wee's Dance. We could have been that if we didn't have Larry. But because Larry was a Phil Spector, George Martin type of entity. And what I mean by that is, I guess I could say names. When you look at producers, this is why I said out of producers. I mean, most hip-hop producers, when you say their name, right in mid, you identify them with their sound. If you say Dre, you can hear a record and say, oh. If you hear Swizz Beats, you could, oh. But with Larry, listen, Larry produced Suck MC's Rock Box. It's like that 5 Minutes of Funk, Friends, what else? A Jam Master. He got an array of work that maybe only 2 or 3 songs sound same. All these other producers, they have a sound they associate with it. Larry, when Rick came in for Raising Hell, but on Raising Hell, we already knew what music we was going to do. With Larry, what's your rhyme, D? All right, let me figure out what goes with that. That's different, and that's very hard to do right now. Plus, to get people accepted, people forget that Larry Smith held down hip-hop from 84 to the end of Houdini's, the album with One Love. That was Larry's reign. All the music in the dirty, dirty South. Friends done got Lou. Jermaine Dupri was dancing on the Fresh Fest to Larry Smith music. So what he saw Larry do as a producer, that's why Jermaine was so successful. Part of the reason. He was watching a maestro. Oh, that's how you do it now. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to be your consistency isn't in being repetitive. Larry would always go, what you got, D? When we did Rockbox, I think Rockbox was also so deaf because I always loved Big Beat because I used to always love to hear Mo, the Cold Crush 4 on the battle tape against the Fantastic Five at Harlem World. When Charlie Chase brung on Big Beat and Grandmaster Fast started writing this rhyme, and then the Treacherous 3 had a routine over Big Beat that went boom, boom, bam, boom, boom, bam, boom. And Mo D said, can you find an MC better than me? Mo D, can you find an MC better than me? And they said, no. Then Special K said, can you find an MC who can say he's better than Special K? No. Can you find an MC who can rhyme up against LA Sunshine? No. Then they said together, you can't, because these just thought you got to come with the best, and that's what we brought. We got to kick ass and I was like, oh shit. So Big Beat was always one of my favorite records to freestyle over. So when we was making Rockbox, this is what happened with Larry. He had the DMX drum machine. He said, D, come over here. You want to make a record like Big Beat, huh? Don't you? Okay. He did the click thing. Here's the kick, here's the snare. Play the beat. So I knew I didn't want to sample or redo Big Beat. So I said, kick, boom, snare, bend, boom, boom, bend, boom, boom, bend, boom, boom, bend, boom, boom. Stop. And it kept going. We laid out lyrics. He put the bass. He came. Me and Run did Rockbox. It didn't have guitars on it yet. It just had the ding-ding-ding-ding. It had the bells and the doo-doo-doo. So me and Run left. Jay stayed. And Jay, this is how Jay learned to board. He didn't go to school for it. He stayed in the studio with Larry Smith and Roddy Hugh was the engineer at Green Street. And he went over, what's that button for? Larry would tell him, what that do? And he did. Me and Run was kid. We dropped our lyrics. We going back home to Hollis. So we learned. We came back a few days later. He went and got Eddie Martinez, who was playing with Quiet Riot, the rock man at the time. And the reason why Larry was so good is he was a musician. So some of the criteria for being a good producer is you got to know music. You gotta love music. So who loves music more than a musician and a DJ that knows? There's beat makers who just know how to make beats. And there's producers who can make those beats, but also know different type of music. And that's why Larry was so exceptional I could only imagine if Larry would have kept working with us in Houdini By the time the 90s rolled around, imagine Larry producing Mobb Deep. You know, especially he's older now, but that's the cat you got to work with. Just like all of those jazz producers, you know, there was a producer working with Miles. You know, the way Rick Rubin, and Rick Rubin's kind of the reverse of Larry. He started with punk rock and hip hop, but then he was able to go produce Metallica. He was able to produce Johnny Cash, this and that. So what Rick did for music is what we did with music, if I can make any sense. And that was Larry. But I always just want to let people know there's no raising hell if it no Larry rock box suck MCs. You don't get nothing better. No. Travis Barker told me, most people jump on the bandwagon and walk this way, but not when I heard Rockbox. He said, Travis said, when I heard Rockbox, I knew what I wanted to do.